Hello and welcome to this edition of Phi TV. I'm your host, Brad Swanson. We are coming to you from what is the special session in the 2021 Legislative Gambling Compact session that they're here. I'm joined by Representative Rayner. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Juneteenth, an amazing representation of African Americans and all sorts of important topics. We're joined by Representative Rayner. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, and I love Juneteenth, so I am happy to be here.
All right, so tell us a little bit about what does Juneteenth mean to you in the lens of the LGBTQ experience? Talk to us.
Yeah, so I mean, I think really when we think about Juneteenth and what it means, and that how really it was, the last, slaves, African Americans, to be able to, get their freedom and get notification of their freedom. I think when you think about the intersection of being Black and the intersection of being part of the LGBTQ community, you think about all of the advances that we had to make up until even now about what does freedom look like, what does equity look like, what does justice look like, and always understanding that it's always an ongoing process. We don't just end and say, oh, we made it, but there is always a push, always to persevere for more and more freedoms. And I think that Juneteenth was obviously the date that, African Americans, Black folks in this country really became aware that they had the right to walk into, their equity and walk into their freedom and really pursue justice and what that looks like.
Yeah, and when you think about, the LGBTQ community, and we look at, our members, for example, the cable companies invest a ton in investing in both ethnic diversity and lifestyle choice diversity. Yeah. And when you think about it, the question I have for you is, it's long been said that the LGBTQ community had to fight that fight within the African American community. Where do you handicap that in today's challenges? And there's always more work to be done, but I know there's some successes as well.
Yeah, and so I'm really grateful for the cable companies really not only understanding why ethnic diversity is important, but also diversity with about pride and about who you love, why that's important as well. And then when we specifically look in the African American community, I think that there are so many things used to divide African Americans, and I think now we're at a place where it is becoming love is love, it's accepted, and people know that I'm just as human as anybody else. And I mean, you saw that with my election. My election is I got elected to a minority access seat, and there are people who said, oh, you'll never be able to win, and people said, I don't care who you love. And we see that even with Senator Jones. I don't care who you love. I care that you can do the job and that you're going to represent me in a way that I can be proud of, and that you're going to fight for the things that are important to me. And that's what I think that you're seeing not only in minority access seats, but all throughout the country as well. And so we're definitely seeing that turn as we are continually fighting for justice, making people more aware, people understanding that they have members of the LGBTQ community in their own families, that this fight for justice that started with Juneteenth continues.
Well, I tell you what, we're grateful that you come on to Phi TV and you share the perspective from really two perspectives as well, and that you come on our show and you bring just amazing insights in general. And of course, we also know you're a super policy nerd, so we love you for that aspect as well.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Good luck in the off season. We know this is when legislators shift from policy to campaign, beginning your next campaign. It's always the next campaign.
We're always in election cycle.
And but we sure look to having you on Phi TV again, awesome. And hopefully next committee week, which literally is just around the corner. So
exactly, when he mentioned committee weeks, I was like, oh my goodness.
We're not going to hurry you back up here, but Representative Rayner, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. That's all the time we have for this excellent episode of Phi TV. For more interviews like this one, make sure you hit us up on our social media feed. And for now, thanks for tuning in.